hope.
All right. Well, I'll call the December Board of Education meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Leo Thomascar.
Here.
Carrie Hildebrandt, I am here. John Donovan.
Here.
Kathy McGrath.
Here.
And Dana's probably going to be here in a few minutes.
Yeah, all right. First item is consider approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is approved. Next, report from student representatives and student and staff recognition. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Evelyn. I'm a junior.
And I'm Kaylee, and I'm a freshman.
Last month, several student council members attended a leadership conference at UW-Stevens Point. A big part of the conference included breakout sessions for students to attend and get ideas to bring back to school and implement. It was a fun experience for all, and we can't wait to start bringing some fun and exciting ideas to the middle and high school.
We're planning a few things in the next few weeks to get everyone into the holiday spirit and spread some Christmas cheer. We have exciting dress-up days planned for all the students and staff. Some of these are Christmas in July, Grinch and Whoville versus Santa's Workshop, and Christmas socks with ugly Christmas sweatshirts.
This week, student council is meeting during Blackhawk and making Christmas ornaments. We thought this would be a great idea to get everyone involved before we head off into winter break. Once the ornaments are made, we are going to hand them out to staff members and we'll walk throughout the neighborhood and pass them out to community members.
Another thing we're doing for the next 2 weeks is a coloring contest. We have been to each classroom during Blackhawk and selling coloring sheets for $1 each. We are going to display everyone's pictures throughout the high school hallway, and next week we'll judge and announce the winners. The proceedings that are made are selling the coloring sheet. They're going to go and donate to the Southwood County Humane Society.
Lastly, all students and staff will travel to Rogers Cinema for the annual holiday movie to end the calendar year before heading out to Christmas break.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great night, and happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Coloring contest.
Happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, President's report. Happy to report that all board members are in attendance. And our next board meeting is January 8th, 2025. All right, moving on to administrative reports. Elementary principal report. Tim.
Good evening, everyone, and happy holidays, as the girls said. The countdown is on. You can certainly feel the energy in both of our buildings as we get closer and closer to holiday break from students and staff alike. Starting here in our elementary school. The elementary school character trait for December is empathy. I'd like to draw your attention to the very nice looking bulletin board, which is in the back of the room here, made by some of our paraprofessionals. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. We talk about empathy every morning in December on our morning announcements, and our homeroom teachers discuss it during their morning meetings. Feeling empathetic toward others goes a long way toward building character and building a positive personality. A required component of the Act 20 English and Language Arts Law is the creation of a building-wide early literacy remediation plan for grades 5K through 3. This, again, I'll repeat it, building-wide early literacy remediation plan was written for the elementary by interventionists Mrs. Winters and Mrs. Vitello in November, and it's now on display on public view on the elementary page of the district website. That was written in November. During December, Mrs. Winters and Mrs. Vitello are now working on personalized reading plans for students who demonstrated a need for extra support in reading based on this fall's early literacy screeners. These personalized plans are also a required component of Act 20. The goal is to have the plans created and sent to families before Christmas break. They are quite lengthy, quite detailed, quite intensive. They are taking a great amount of time. So thank you very much, Mrs. Winters, Mrs. Vitello. They are crafting those letters and implementing that data with each of the classroom teachers. So extra work, but we are hoping that it pays off in our English and language arts. The elementary school holiday concert will be held this upcoming Monday, December 16th in the Dorothy Alexander Auditorium. The pre-K through 2 concert is at 6 p.m. and the grades 3 through 5 concert is at 7 o'clock. And talking about discussing holiday break, our last day of school is next Friday, December 20th, and students are scheduled to return on Thursday, January 2nd. So a nice long week and a half break for students and staff alike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school principal report. Shane?
Good evening. So a couple things. Everything is new here for me. Experience, and I came out of my office this morning, and there were elementary kids with Mrs. Robishki, and they were making cookies today. So it's just all things that I'm starting that they don't tell me necessarily about, but I find out about it as it goes through.
You smell it?
Yeah, you smell it for sure. So life at the middle school, high school is going great. School-wide, we've implemented a behavior tracker. We started some sit meetings on some of the tough kids that we're all seeing some of the same things. We're meeting after school and implementing sit meetings with these for these kids with staff to make a plan and go over to try to see how we can make them successful. So life over there is good. We have next week, Wednesday, we have our cool teen leadership, and we have 3 or 4 every school gets 3 or 4 students from the local area schools, and they go through the chamber and go around to different things. Last month, they went through and went to the Wood County, the new jail in Wisconsin Rapids. They got to tour that, see a variety of things, down from things that were some of the inmates that were there. They got to walk through some of the jail cells. They got to walk through some of these different areas, and this next upcoming week, they're going to be heading to Nakusa. They're going to the Lester Library. They're going to go visit the Nakusa schools, and then in the coming months, that'll happen here at Port Edwards too. So, kind of getting a handle on what takes place in the area. And the last thing I wanted to talk about today, the senior breakfast that we have coming up on Friday. Again, it's not too late if you haven't been able to reserve a spot, or if you've forgotten that your wife reserved a spot. But we have about 79 RSVPs. We're planning for about 85 people. We have our band is going to perform. Our choir is going to perform. A high school band, high school choir Friday. It'll start about 8:45 in that area, and it is also a birthday.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Mr. Vina's birthday on Friday too. So
Very fitting. It's a senior breakfast.
senior breakfast. Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it. I want to hear about it.
It's a
We were-
young
It's a
senior.
young senior.
We were where you are going to be 25 years ago, so just suck it up, Buttercup. Just
Okay.
deal with it.
Will do.
Quite funny.
So we're very excited to have the guests in our building, and the messages that I got. So Mrs. Klinsky and I talked about it, and I said, well, I'll be the one to handle the reservations and stuff. So the messages is what makes me happy again to be here, because we love this. We can't thank you so much for inviting us back. We look forward to this every year. So those messages are, again, just another reason why Port Edwards is an amazing place. So that'll be at 8:45 on Friday morning. So okay. Thank you.
The cakes are done.
Thank you, Mrs. McGrath. If I could dovetail off Shane's report, thank you, Mrs. McGrath. You always do a wonderful job with the name tags. They look absolutely artistic and beautiful, like always. SIT team meetings stands for Student Intervention Team.
Yeah.
So Student Intervention Team meetings. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to Shane for leading the senior breakfast. That's often done by a student council advisor. In addition to being principal, Shane has stepped up, and he is our student council advisor for the middle school. That's a big job. So thank you for wearing that hat also.
Not as if he didn't have enough to do, but
Yeah,
when there's an opening that needs to be filled, thank you, Shane, for
thank you.
taking that on.
Okay, questions and comments from people in attendance. Did anyone sign this sheet, wish to talk?
You skipped the
District DA.
district.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah, well, I saw Stuart. Yeah, district administrator report. Sorry.
Sure. Some information at the district level. On November 21st, Lisa Miller and I attended the annual Baird Financial Workshop for public school districts at North Central Tech in Wausau. The meeting was attended by about 18 regional school districts, and attendees worked throughout the day with Baird School financial representatives to review our district's, our current finances and use their Baird electronic platform to project different areas of our budget. They have an extremely intricate, I will call it in a very simplified way, a Google spreadsheet with about 50 tabs on it that you can project all types of revenue and all types of expenditures, and they are constantly evolving it to make it more useful for school districts. So we go to that each year, we learn the new features of that platform, and then we work with our current financial state. So it was a very educational day, a very good day. School district nurse Katie Bortz has created emergency response teams at both Ed Hoyer Elementary and at John Edwards Middle and High School. The emergency response teams, or E-teams, have been created as a systematic approach for response to medical emergencies in our buildings. The teams consist of about 15 staff members at each school. Some of the roles included on the team include internal and external building communication, transportation of supplies, direct care to those who are in need of the emergency, and follow-up documentation. Simulation drills for the emergency response teams are taking place tomorrow at both of our buildings. So thank you to Nurse Bortz for organizing that. That was an idea she has taken from another school district, and we are implementing it here, hopefully to make our practices a lot more efficient and with a higher safety rate.
Has anybody from the district staff bid on the EMS class that the fire department's gonna be offering in January?
No one has spoken to me.
Okay.
So,
Be really, really helpful if even one or two people in each building were to be able to do that, and if they were willing to do it, I would offer a suggestion that maybe there be some sort of comp time or compensation or some way to encourage people to move in that direction. Just having those people in-house in each building would be a huge plus.
yeah, absolutely.
But that's a 70-hour class.
It is. It's a lot of
It's a
time.
big, big commitment outside of the regular workday.
Right, absolutely. We'll keep that in mind for sure. On December 4th, I participated in the UW Stevens Point Pre-K through age 18 School of Education Board meeting. Our regional board meets quarterly to learn updates from the UWSP School of Ed and to also give feedback to the Board of Ed, to the School of Ed from our area school districts about what is taking place in public education, and as well as feedback about their student teaching program. So that's a very good program they have started just this school year. Over Christmas break, CISA 10 Facility Management Advisor Tony Menard will be taking IT contractors on tours through our elementary building to show them areas of the building for installation of new cabling. So we are begin doing some updated internet cabling next summer, and those tours of potential contractors will be happening over Christmas break. Now I've got a very special note that is not something I do every month, but I'm very honored to be able to speak about. At this time, the Port Edward School District and on behalf of the Board of Education would like to recognize Mr. Corey Ciros. Welcome, Corey. Thank you. For the past 15 years, Corey's been a dedicated member of PEEF, Port Edwards Education Foundation Board, and for the last 6 years, he has served as the board president. At the end of December, Corey will be stepping down from his position. Corey, the Port Edwards School District would like to thank you for your selfless dedication and leadership to PEEF. Your welcoming personality, consistent leadership, and strong work ethic have all helped PEEF to grow through your years of leadership. Corey, I told you I'd make you blush. But it's all true, so we are so thankful.
Thank you.
Port Edwards would like to present you with a plaque as a symbol of our thanks. It was created by Port Edwards Tech Ed teacher, Mr. Steve Burno.
Nice.
Thank you, Corey, for your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you.
That's nice.
Would you like to come in for a picture as well?
There you go.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Walter.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
again. Thank you.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Corey.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was just informed today that I've got some January work to do, so the December date's a little
Okay.
flexible, I guess.
Before they're gonna let you go,
I guess.
Yes.
you have to finish all your homework.
All right. Been told that for years, starting right here, I think.
Yes.
Thank you.
Corey, every month I look forward to our meetings because Corey, he leads with such a warm personality and there's humor and we have a great time at our meetings, yet we accomplish a lot for the school district. So your leadership will be missed. Thank you so much.
Now we can go to questions and comments from people in attendance. And there is no one signed up. Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Consider approval of minutes of the past meeting.
Second?
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Next is consider approval of financial reports. Are there any gifts?
There are two gifts I'd like to report. There's a donation from the Port Edwards Lions to the Ecology Club for $1,000 to cover that, more than cover the cost of the harvest lunch, as well as a small donation to the club. Pass that on. And a second donation in the amount of $200 to the Christmas for Kids Fund, Port Edwards School District, given by the United Methodist Women in Faith, care of Mrs. Hoyer.
All right, with those gifts, I have a motion to approve the financial reports. Motion by Dana, is there a second?
Second?
Second by Leo. Roll call.
Leo,
Aye.
Carrie, aye. Dana.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
All right. Financial reports are approved. No unfinished business tonight. New business, review of school violence drill.
Reports were sent to the board as part of the board packet, and a motion to request is presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Number 9, consider approval of 25-26 Port Edwards School District calendar.
I do have a comment about this as well. Our calendar draft was all ready to go, and we were informed last night that Wisconsin Rapids has made a change to their school calendar. We really try to keep ours, especially our spring break and our other breaks, in alignment with Wisconsin Rapids. So with that in mind, I'm going to request that we table this item until January.
Table. Second.
Motion and a second.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
All right, next up, review of the DPI school report cards.
I've placed in front of each of you a packet that has a one-page summary on the front page, and there are 4 pages behind it. It is a very brief summary of each, the district, the high school, the middle school, and the elementary 23-24 DPI report cards. Looking at our front summary page, there is no significant decline nor significant increase in our report card scores, all within about 3 percentage points, either plus or minus. So that's good to see. There was not a significant decline. One of the notes I had on the bottom is that DPI, they caution in us comparing one year to another, even one school district to another, because they change the factors within the report card on an almost annual basis. So what they may emphasize one year, they may not emphasize another year. So while our score may look very similar, something may really be increasing or really decrease, but may not be reflected in the report card score. And we've
what's the purpose of having a report card?
It's required.
I would say accurate assessment of what you're doing, but this is not necessarily that accurate.
It's kind of like trying to hit a baseball or hit a butterfly with a baseball bat.
Somewhat. Somewhat.
Bad example, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Bad base, no tree.
No,
Yeah.
about
They're in
that.
enough trouble, Dana, we're not gonna take out a baseball.
So, So I will move ahead to the bottom of my notes there. You know, we are always looking to improve. What are we doing as a school district to raise our scores? We always want to shoot for improvement.
Change the parameters in it.
Well, that's one way we could do it. Change the rules of the game. Yeah. We are trying to control what we can control. We are working on our pre-K through 12 curriculum writing. This will allow us to identify the gaps or any overlap that is taking place in our teaching. So that is an ongoing process. And of course, our Act 20 ELA work that we are doing here at the elementary, that's training all of our elementary teachers in the fundamental components of reading and English, and it will be very consistent pre-K through 5. And that will provide that consistency and fidelity to teaching and implementing reading and English. So those are our areas in which we are trying to grow.
You know, and we have no control over our population.
Correct.
And we don't know what happened to them at home the night before or that morning before they came to school. I mean,
Yeah.
tests are tests.
Yes.
And they don't always have a lot of credence. But, you know,
I mean, this is like Joseph Heller, which is catch-22. You can just claim we improved, because if the statistics show we didn't, we can just say, well, the parameters changed, so therefore we did improve. And if you say that you didn't improve, you could do the same in the other direction. It makes.
It's a classic, this is a classic example of somebody who knows nothing about a process attempting to regulate, discuss, and report on it.
Control.
It would be like having a middle school or grade school student attempting to report on a nuclear physics experiment.
Right. Absolutely.
It does a disservice to the public because they perceive things to be better or worse than they really are
Yes.
for reasons that are many times, as you note, obscure,
Yes.
and it again puts us in the crosshairs,
Right. And
good or bad.
you know, as misleading as it can be, you know, one of the things that's very obvious too is the data is so lagging. We can have such a turnover with the amount of transient families, and the data is very lagging, absolutely. And by the time our practices catch up to that, it's not necessarily reflected in the report card.
The only problem with your analogy is the middle schooler does not have the credentials to claim to be an expert.
So moved.
Yep, so much for the report cards.
Yep.
All right, that
Now let's get on to something more useful.
is our review, okay.
Not that I'm
Next item
stating any opinion.
is the first reading of Neola policy updates.
A summary was sent within the board packet. This recent set of Neola policy updates have to do with EDGAR, which is an acronym for federal funding. Each of these updates, they address laws that have changed within the last year or so that oversee federal funding to public school districts. And so our policies reflect those updated laws. I recommend, obviously, that we approve these at the second reading. Are there any questions about this? Thank you.
We will do the approval next
January.
month.
Yeah.
Next item is consider approval of 24-25 Port Edward School District Library Plan.
This was shared with our board back in October. At that time, I was advised to share it with our board. We did get a message from DPI saying you needed formal board approval of it as well. So that's why I placed it back on our school board agenda, requesting approval of our library plan. This plan was created by our librarian from CISA 5,
Could somebody,
Sharon Egan.
could somebody describe what makerspace is, please?
Kathy? Evan?
Well, I know what it is at the public library in Rapids. Is that what you're referring
Well,
to?
I mean,
And
they
I-
referenced it in here as well.
Yeah, I think I think Mrs. Hamilton does it, where they kind of have an activity
Yeah.
set up, hands-on thing that kids are doing
I call it
something.
arts and crafts related to a library book.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think those bulletin boards up there, the hands and the bats, that was part of that makerspace.
Arts and crafts, yes.
Okay.
All right. Seek a motion to approve the library plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, opportunity for individual board member comment. Start with Kat.
Just want to, again, the band and choir were awesome at the tree lighting ceremony down at the village square, village park, village whatever, on Sunday night. They were great, as they always are, and seeing a trombone lit up with lights on it was wonderful. And Emily with her lighted baton directing them. I mean, when it's dark, that really makes it fun. So the kids seemed to really have a great time, and there were a lot of people there. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. So it's good for our school to get the kids down there, and it's a great evening.
All right, Dana.
I just wanted to say thanks for all the invitations that the various clubs, organizations, and the district sends me. Okay. Unfortunately, with my schedule, most times it is very difficult, if not impossible. Right now, I am having, or Social Security is scheduling July for me. So I have great difficulty in finding time in a given day to be there. Please keep sending them. If I can be there, I will try to be there. It's just that, and I actually have been able to hire additional attorneys, so maybe I don't have to do quite as much, so. But I just wanted to comment. It's not that I'm ignoring or lack appreciation of the invitations. It's just difficult.
Some people are
Time.
still working too.
We all need time.
Yeah, and I'm working a lot more than I thought I would be at this point in my life.
All right. Gary.
Just want to thank Corey again for all your time and efforts. It's just you just put out there what so many people in this community of Port Edwards do. Jump in and give time. We can point to many people in this community that do that, and it's always so nice to get a little bit of recognition for that hard work and effort. And Jim said it very well, is that you have such a great enthusiasm all the time, and that's just awesome. And we all appreciate the time that you put in, and I know you'll still be putting time in and helping. I know, because you can't stay away. So just thanks, and just Christmas is just coming up, so Merry Christmas to everybody. Can't believe it's almost here. It's impossible.
Leo.
Second to what Kerry said, when Ed Hoyer stepped away from the organization that he helped create in 1995, you were the logical person to take the helm, so to speak. You succeeded Ed, you couldn't replace him, but somebody will succeed you, and they can't replace you. When Thomas Jefferson arrived at the court of Louis XVI as the new American ambassador, replacing Ben Franklin, one of the courtiers came up to him and said, "Oh, you're Dr. Franklin's replacement." And Mr. Jefferson corrected him by saying, "No, I'm his successor. Nobody can replace him." So, we tend at this time of the year to be very aware of being thankful and grateful and wishing people well and trying to be kind to each other. If we would take just a small portion of that and spread it out over the other 11 months of the year, we'd probably be a lot better off. We've just come through an extremely contentious election cycle. We need to, in the coming year, be conscious of trying to find opportunities to be generous, to be kind, and to be helpful to each other, and try to focus on what's good instead of what we're upset about or what we don't like. If we would just each do a little bit of that, we'd all be a lot better off. It's the best Christmas present we can give each other. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, all I have is, on behalf of the board, I'd just like to wish all the village residents and educators and everyone in the village, happy holidays, and hope all goes well in the new year. Looking forward to a new year. So with that, next meeting is January 8th.
Just one comment, I am scheduled to be gone that week, and I don't know that it matters for anything, but there was something that came up beforehand or after, obviously I'm more than available, but just so happens the way it lands this year. So,
Okay, and February, what are we looking at, February?
12th.
February 12th would be our next meeting then. So far, that'll be our next meeting, unless something comes up.
Yeah. Should-
All right. Well, call for adjournment.
So move.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So adjourned.
Wow, might be a record, that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, can I have?
No,
yes, can-
we back quicker.
Absolutely.
I don't know.